My name is Maryam and I'm the host of television. And as you know, I always start the show with saying that I have the best guest.
Hey.
So today I have another best guest. His name is Raymond Spencer, and we just met literally like about 3 weeks ago at a movie premiere about brothers and sisters who have been incarcerated or in the system. So I'm so happy to have him today to tell you his story and where he is today and what he plans to do with all of the knowledge that he has acquired. So, Raymond.
Hi.
Hi there. Thank you so much for coming on. We were just with each other on Wednesday.
Yes, we were.
Right, at Delaney Hall.
Crusading.
Yes. So thank you for that too.
It was a nice place to be. It was good for me too.
Yes, the brothers really appreciated us being there, And like I said, I was happy that you were with me as well.
That's what's up. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, thank you. Now, you were incarcerated.
Yes.
How long?
Last bit, 3 years, but it was like an ongoing thing with me. My drug addiction to selling drugs and using them had me going in and out. I hadn't learned the lesson the first time or the fifth time or the 10th time.
Like a lot of people.
Yeah, I was caught up in the revolving door of it, as they say. I would be in jail almost every year. Stay there, for 6 months or something, get time served. Come back home and think I figured out how to play the game and win it again and lose again. So I did that until the last time I came home was 1996, December. I maxed out, and I had already programmed myself to know that I wasn't going back in there. So something had to.
How did you know that?
Because being there was not part of the agreement when we were told about the streets. They told us we were going to be able to do whatever we want. They told us we were going to have all of the stuff that we want. They told us we was going to make lots of money. They told us a lot of things, but they never told us that the police was going to put those cuffs on us. And for me, one of the sad things is that adults know about the wrong of something before they teach it to a child, and they still do it. So, for a long time I was bitter because I felt betrayed by people who were supposed to protect me and love me. You're not supposed to set me up to be in some horrific situation. And as impressionable youth, me, my brothers, my cousins, the boys and the girls, we wanted to emulate what we saw our uncles and big brothers doing. The girls was trying to emulate the boosters. They were trying to steal and be fashionable and all this stuff and then hustle, sell the clothes. And the guys, we all tried to, sell drugs like our uncles. We wanted to be cool because I'm 55. So the reason I'm saying that is because my uncles and my big brothers and stuff, they were coming from a revolutionary place. They were about fight the power, fight the man. They were a part of the love generation, so it was a lot of kids, but it was a lot of drugs going on, not only selling, but using. And at that age, when you're young, you don't get to say something about what adults do, especially not during those times. You did what you was told. You sat yourself down. You went outside and played while the grown folks did grown-up stuff, and we could still see them do it though. And eventually, they shared it with us like it was something nice. Yeah, you want some of this, First it was scary, but wanting to be like them, you did stuff because you didn't want to be called corny. They used to call me a wallflower, pick on me, smack me in the head because I didn't want to do certain stuff. But I ended up falling into it anyway. Right. So now I just hold a disdain for that passing down of bad information. I refuse to do it. I refuse to tell young guys and girls that this is this is the thing to do.
You know who you remind me of when you just said that? The street doctor.
That's my man,
Rest in peace. Yes. When he would go inside, he would tell them the truth.
Yeah.
You know, and how this is not what you're supposed to be doing, and how we failed you.
Yep. I say these things.
Yes.
And it's important, you know, because on the other side of it, if I was the provocateur of bad information, I really couldn't handle hearing about the kids that died because I told them to go do some stuff. I don't want that. I don't ever want to play the participation in somebody's demise because they was out there doing some stuff that I sent them to do. Because I was too much of a coward to go step out there and commit a crime on my own. I sent some little kid out there and he got, you know, jailed or hurt or whatever, even worse. You know, I don't want that on my conscience.
Right.
You know, because again, it goes back to I felt like I was giving bad information about people who were supposed to protect me. I am not doing that ever. We used to yoke young guys up in our community, you know, like, we wasn't trying to really tell them what to do. We was trying to give them structure. And now at this age and this point, we don't do that anymore. This is 30 years later. Those boys talk to us about what we said to them before and they remember.
Yes.
That's powerful.
Right. So through all of everything that you went through, you started growing.
Yeah. I was growing and I was bitter at the same time. So I came home. I wanted to get a job. I couldn't find a job. I started hustling again. I got back out in the street. I had an intention this time and I knew I wouldn't ever use drugs again. So every dollar that I made, I was able to keep until I was able to get myself situated and I stopped. Okay. You know, and I don't tell nobody that stuff because I don't want them to think, well, he did it so we could take our last shot and do it a couple of months and then we be good.
Right.
I edit that out. But yeah, it's just kicking with you, you know, I'm just gonna be transparent about it, you know. But after that, I was learning too. I went back to college. I started at Essex. Got my communications degree, and while I was doing that, I was pursuing acting. I was booking jobs in New York, you know, and I booked a role in a PBS documentary called Slavery by Another Name.
Yes.
And I learned so much.
By a white brother who wrote that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
Mr. Blackman, I think his name was.
Douglas Blackman.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Douglas Blackman was the Pulitzer Prize winning author of that.
Yes, because I purchased that and showed it to the brothers in Delaney Hall.
But when I was doing that role, Maryam.
Now, which role were you playing in it?
I played Ezekiel Archie.
Oh, okay.
I was a slave who knew how to read and write, and I
Yes.
was writing letters to the government about the enslavement
I remember that.
after the emancipation.
Oh.
They were re-enslaving black people
Oh, wow.
when it was supposed to be over.
Right. Oh, now you're going to make me go back and look at it, to look for you.
I'm the guy who you see by the lantern at the desk writing. I have a bald head.
Yes.
I was a little huskier, I think. I'm the guys in the coal mine, in the dark, with the pick.
Yes. Okay.
Like covered in ash, just dirty and just, it was a really informative role for me, being in the actual coal mine up in Pennsylvania. We was in water this deep.
Right.
It was mud, it was sucking our shoes off, it was so deep, and it was all, you know, we really immersed into it, but I had to study for the role, so studying the history taught me more stuff than I knew, and then I got angry.
Yes.
It made me mad to learn what had been done to us as a people, you know, and it gave me more conviction to not go back to jail, because that's when I really learned, you know, the definition of the 13th Amendment, and it says that slavery is still in effect when a person has committed a crime.
When you're in prison.
And then
Yes.
I put myself in that place, and to be flat out 100, I started crying because in the moment when I realized that, I was just a slave some months ago. And what hurt even more was that I felt like I was a volunteer slave. I just kept going back in the thing. I was in that revolving door I was telling you about. And that just compelled me to just do more for myself and to not be in those situations. Like, I was concerned about, like the story of me. What they gonna say about me?
Right.
And then I had a daughter, and I wanted to be a good father, and I thought I was doing that through selling drugs and everything, but a lot of the times we do the wrong things for the right reasons. We try to cut through, take shortcuts, jump over everybody, and not be steady in our growth. We try to go by leaps and bounds, and we usually go to the streets to do stuff like that. That's the outlet for us.
Right.
And but it didn't have to be. It didn't have to be. We could have been taught other things if our people had those things to teach us, but they gave us what they had.
That's true. And I grew up seeing everything that you just mentioned, right?
Yeah.
And it was never anything that appealed to me, but it appealed to all my brothers. So it was their choice to do what they were doing out in the streets, doing the drugs and everything. But it was nothing that ever appealed to me.
Yeah. We had a couple of women in our family that didn't do it, but a lot of them did, though. The women in my family, they gangsters too. They beautiful and they tough.
Yeah, right. So now the other thing that I want you to tell the audience is that you wrote a book.
Yeah.
And it's on audio, right?
No, it's a digital book.
Okay, digital, right.
Well, the name of the book is not Slavery by Another Name. The name of one of the two new books I just published is How to Rebuild Your Life After Prison.
Okay,
So,
how to rebuild your life after prison.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a digital ebook. It's so that returning citizens can have access to it on their cell phones. It's programmed with hyperlinks.
Okay.
So you can press the link inside of the digital book, and it'll jump them right to the website that they need to go to so that they can find help with housing, finding a job. There's links to help convicted felons start their own business to become independent, and lots of resources about training so that when they can be good at these jobs and keep them.
Right.
So
as you said, start their own business.
Yeah. Yeah, become the boss that we thought we were going to be when we were running in the middle of the street.
Right.
It's part of the programming for us when we're in the streets to be our own boss. So it's a really attractive thing, for guys to come home and start their own business, be independent, operate on their own time, and in a lot of sense, if they're successful, they can purchase back their time to build a family, to expand their business, to help other felons coming home, because we more readily accept the information when it comes from somebody who's been in a tank, who's been through the same struggles that we have. And just knowing that I was in the cell with you and now you home and you doing all this, wow, like it's the truth.
And see, that was one of the reasons why I mentioned to you before, whenever I go inside, I always bring brothers and sisters with me who have been inside.
I get it.
Because this is who they can relate to. Because like you said, you've been there.
Yeah.
You know what it's about. You walked in those shoes. And so now you are what I call a testimony of success. Because when you stand before them, you're successful. And they'll look at you and say, wow, he did it, I could do it too. Something that was so interesting to me, this was in 2018. I was doing a training at Essex County Correctional Facility
Okay.
with the gang unit, right? It was myself, Mr. Stokes. He is our outreach coordinator for our program. And so after it was over, he said to me, he said, Miss Bay, you know who that guy was that was sitting in front of me? I said, no, I don't know. I don't know who he is. He said, that was my drug dealer. I said, wait a minute. He sold drugs to you? He said, yes. I bought drugs off of him. I said, well, how did that feel? He said, it was like so surreal to him. He said, but the nice thing about it was that when his drug dealer saw him, he was happy to see him successful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that makes a big difference.
It does, and it's so relatable too. Like they're directly connected, through past experiences. Like in one of my films, that I wrote, there's a film called The Fight for Education. Mm-hmm. The Fight for Education is about a guy who came home from jail and tried to rebuild his life by going back to college and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And the street, the leader, the boss, he's looking for him. The guy owes him money when he got arrested. He lost a lot of stuff, so there's a beef going on. So he avoids them. But when the guy do catch him, mm-hmm. it's the workers for the big man. They catch him and they beat him up and they hurt him, and then they call the big boss and tell him we caught him. But when the big boss get there, he really admonishes the three guys that work for him for beating him up. And he tell them, if this guy dies, I'm gonna kill all of y'all, because he was secretly happy that the guy was going to college and trying to succeed. And he told the guy, I've been rooting for you. He you got to do this for the rest of us. You got a chance to get out.
Right, yes.
You got to do it.
Yes.
I ain't worried about that money. He said, and he brought the kid a laptop computer, because when the boys beat him up, they broke his stuff. They took his book bag and they beat him up bad. And the guy had him in the car riding around Newark, telling him, I knew you was home. Did you think I ain't know? I wanted you to go to school. I wanted you to finish. I didn't want to bother you. Like he told him, you got to win for all of us. A lot of us ain't going to make it out.
Right.
You got a chance.
Right.
And he go back to school and he win. They did the graduation. So we really do kind of secretly root for each other, but we don't know how to actually give each other a hand.
Right, yeah. So have you been working with any young people?
No, I haven't had the opportunity. That's why I was really happy to go in with you, because it's important to me to do this work.
Yes.
We didn't have these resources, people that we can rely on.
Right.
And I had learned to forgive my uncles and big brothers while I was in college. When I was in history was my minor. Mm-hmm. When I backtracked their timelines, their birthdays, I kind of saw what they went through, mm-hmm. and I felt bad for them. Yeah. And I realized that they couldn't teach us how to do these other things that we wanted, because they didn't have that within them to give us. Right. So
they gave you what they had.
Yeah, learning that forgiveness, added the importance of giving good information, right. to young people. This ain't the thing to do. Right. And it's good to do that too, because for some reason they take it from me. In my eloquence, and my ability to express myself, mm-hmm. I'm able to speak to them in a way where they see pictures and they know that I've been through what they've been through. You remember there was a guy in the audience who knew me.
Yes.
When we got there.
I remember. Yes.
That's one of them young guys. So he could absolutely be a success story for a guy like me, because he used to see me, sitting by the tree when I was on dope, nodding out. He remembered me with the guns, the robbing. He remembered all the violent stuff, and I could speak volumes to him. Right. And not only that, with everything that I know now, I can provide guidance.
Right.
Actual, realistic resources, truth and dialogue, guidance. That's what the book is about. That's what the book is about. Helping people find their way when they don't have anybody to hold their hand.
Right. Yeah. They definitely need that.
Yeah.
But see, you and brothers and sisters like yourself, who made the change, it really inspires them to do the same thing. But they need help along the way because sometimes they can't do it by themselves.
The sight of people like myself, like you said, means that it could happen.
Yes.
It could happen. Like I don't gotta stay here, but it's such a deep, lonely place when you in those spaces. Like sometimes you just don't respond to it. It took me a lot of turns going in and out to learn the lesson, to pick it up, and we all learn at different times and at different speeds.
Right.
We absorb information differently. For me, there was some connection to higher power, always speaking to my soul, telling me I'm supposed to be doing something else.
And that's service.
For me, yeah, and the service goes through the writing, the chronicling of life as it's being lived while we are here.
Right.
You know, and I'm so dogmatic on it now. Like I just really want more time. I need to be able to write more stuff because, you know, with CRT in place, you know, critical race theory has made our history a crime now.
Exactly. Right.
Who's gonna tell our stuff?
That's right. It reminds me years ago, I had said that Malcolm and Martin will probably turn out to be white. You know, because our history is going to be taken away from us.
And we're doing it now.
And that's what they're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah, and we can't allow that to happen because, as I was saying to another guest, we have the Amistad law here in the state of New Jersey, and that law mandates that in the school system, our history is supposed to be taught, and that is not happening.
Mm-hmm. They're arresting teachers. They're real devious about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That that is the problem. That's definitely the
They're
problem.
arrested for telling the truth.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so fire them or whatever because they're telling the truth. But we have to continue to tell the truth.
Yep.
You know, because our children need to know their history, and not just our children, but all children need to know their history, the real history. They need not the watered down version of what they're trying to put before us today.
I'm sure you can relate to this. There was a push a few decades ago, and it's still going on now, with black girl power, this, that, and the other. And they were saying how black girls need to see themselves in the imagery. They need to see themselves in dolls. They need to see themselves in fashion magazines. Healthy, not skinny, little, rail thin, but as they physically are represented, how they are in the world, they need to see themselves. That's what's gonna happen to black people as a whole race. We won't be able to find ourselves in books.
Right. Unless we do it ourselves.
We have to do it. That's why the other book I published is called Where We Live.
Oh, okay. And before time run out, you mentioned that some of your art is being shown in Newark, right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I've never had that before. The artist in me is many different artists. I'm also a photographer, and I use aerial cameras. I use drones, I use flying cameras. And so I've taken a lot of photos of downtown Newark. I love the architecture and the buildings. They're beautifully made to me. And they chose some of them to display in the
Nice.
Art in the City display that's going on in City Hall.
Right?
Yes,
Okay.
on the second floor.
Okay. Nice.
It is nice.
We'll have to go up there and see it.
Seeing my stuff up there with other artists and just having it hang in such a prominent building. It's City Hall. you know, those high columns, those beautiful, you know,
Right.
arches and stuff like that.
Right.
That's where my stuff is hanging.
Right.
That's cool.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Who I think I'm
we're
is.
getting ready to wind it up. So, what are some of your last comments you would like to make?
Well, first off, I would like for you to call me again so I can help out with the guys.
Okay.
But I'm working towards being more effective, reaching more people. I'm gonna be releasing that digital ebook on how to rebuild your life so that more people can have it. That wasn't about making money. So I'm partnering with folks like Al Tariq Best,
Yes.
you know, who was on your show, to help get this information in the hands of people that I don't come in contact with,
Right.
that he comes in contact with,
Right.
that the guys in the Returning Citizens group come in, you know, Wellness Reentry. These are the people that are sponsoring me,
Right.
And this is so that we can get the information fanned out.
Right.
There's a lot of folks that need recovery assistance, so, you know, I'm working towards being able to help more people. So trying to create some more independence for myself so that I could have more time to do these things.
Thank you. And we need you to do that. And thank you so much for being here today. And thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Maryam Bay, and have a wonderful day.